Sitting in the morning sun, I'll be sitting when the evening comes, watching the ships roll in.
Hello, fellow fish reefers. This was over 2 years ago when we, the Fish Reef Project, put 16 sea caves on the seafloor off of Goleta. We're all very proud. This was just a couple months later with the first layers of the biofilm, and then 7 months later we had a giant kelp forest all the way to the surface. It was amazing to see.
Here we are, July 25th, 2026. The Goleta Kelp Restoration Reef. 16 sea caves have now been on the seafloor for well over 2 years. We have good condition, uphill current, blue water, top of the tide, good sun. Let's go see what nature gave us.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Actually, conditions were tough on the bottom. Major surge, tons of debris floating around. But that is just what Señor Lobster likes, is lots of debris, lots of dead stuff to feed on. That's their role in the ecosystem. They're the cleaners of the seafloor. And there's not one sea urchin on this reef so far, and I believe it's because the lobsters are consuming them. There's an encrusting sponge and a top shell, or in Mexico as they call it, a catacol. Magistrea undosa. It's a beautiful spiral-shaped shell. It has a big, meaty foot inside, protected by a protective door called an operculum. There's a red snapper, Sebastes miniatus. It's about 4.5 inches long. They're getting larger. They seem to be growing. The home guard rockfish seem to be bigger every time we see them. Same with the lobster. They were all shorts when we first went down there. Now there's a good deal that are well over legal. Some are up to about 4 pounds so far. I haven't seen a giant one, but that day will come. There's that encrusting sponge again. There seems to be this magic about the sea caves where they're just ideal shelter and spawning ground. There are eggs of every kind, from swell sharks to the top shell to the crabs to the lobsters to the mating activity of the lobsters. I mean, these 16 sea caves are the terrestrial equivalent of downtown Manhattan, New York underwater real estate. If you are a sea creature like this mermaid's purse that houses a baby swell shark inside of it, and we always seem to see them on the surface of the sea cave towards the top. There's another top shell or turban snail, followed by a pregnant or buried up yellow blonde crab, and then off in the distance a lobster is just daring us to come say hello. Now this lobster has had enough of us filming without asking for rights. It's giving us the lobster version of a middle finger. Unbelievable. There's another top shell or turban snail. Looks like it's hanging out around its clutch of eggs that maybe it had something to do with. The eggs even grow right on the outside of the actual shell itself, which is pretty clever from an evolutionary standpoint. This is a look upside down at the operculum. It's almost like a serrated ceramic tooth that it uses to protect itself and even do battle with other rivals, probably over mates. And here's a beautiful giant kelp, Macrocystis pyrophora, that has returned. The giant kelp is a little bit more sparse this year because it is an El Niño year. The water tends to be cleaner. It tends to be warmer, and it tends to have more what you call uphill current. When the trade winds break down off of Ecuador, it pushes that warm water up here. But that's not going to stop this beautiful red kelp crab. And as the name says, they love the kelp. And here's another blonde or yellow rock crab full of buried or eggs. Now here's some kind of sponge. I don't know what it is. Please leave in the DMs what you think it is. And say goodbye to this painted greenling. And I'd like to thank everybody for helping ocean life thrive.
Sitting in the morning sun, I'll be sitting when the